Hi, this is Josh with Retro TV One Tech, and today I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to install Windows ME on this amazing retro gaming laptop. That's right, Windows Millennium Edition, one of the worst Windows ever made. Arguably, it's called Windows Mistake Edition for a reason. A lot of people had a lot of trouble with it, and we're going to install it on this amazing retro gaming laptop. So we hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely subscribe, leave us a like, a comment, all the things, help us out, and let us know what videos you'd like to see next. But let's go ahead and get started with this crazy idea of installing Windows ME on this incredible laptop. So why would I install Windows ME on this laptop? Why would I subject this amazing retro laptop to Windows ME? Well, there's a very good reason. And if we look at the bottom of this laptop here, you can see, and we'll zoom in here, you can see that Windows ME was the operating system that was actually on this computer from the factory. So I thought, even though I'm going to eventually end up putting Windows 98 SE on this machine because it's much more stable, has a real DOS mode, and lots of other reasons, I thought it would be cool, first of all, just to try Windows Millennium Edition on this to see if it really was as bad as we remember. And secondly, just to see if it does in fact work a little bit better on this laptop because it was technically designed for Windows ME. I'm going to do a whole separate video on this laptop very soon where I talk about all the features and why it's one of the best retro gaming laptops, but that will be coming very soon. So stay tuned for that one. But this is an incredible laptop, but I thought before I have all the stuff to install Windows 98 SE on it, I'm waiting on a little bit bigger compact flash card and a few other things. I'll just use a smaller compact flash card that I have laying around just for fun and try to install Windows ME because I'm really anxious to see and hear this amazing laptop in action. C being, this is I believe a 15-inch diagonal screen, super huge here, so you can see this as we open it up. So I'm excited to see what this looks like in action. I've actually turned it on and booted it to a DOS disk, but you know, the screen isn't stretched, it's really small in the middle, you know, there's no drivers to do any kind of audio or anything like that. So I see these speakers up here, supposedly it has a subwoofer, which we'll talk about a little more in the next video. So all these cool things, we gotta have Windows installed to make it happen. So I wanna try it, I'm super excited to just hear and see what it can do. So let's get started installing Windows ME in this amazing machine and see if we can do it without having too many of these blue screens of death. That's why I'm wearing the blue screen of death shirt. Windows ME was very famous for the blue screen of death. So let's get started. All right, so before we install Windows ME for whatever reason, let's take a look at what we're working with here. First, here's a little closer view of the laptop, but it's the Toshiba 2805-S401. Doesn't really mean a lot, lots of numbers, but it's got some really cool specs, and we'll do a lot more detailed review of it. It's probably one of the best retro gaming laptops you can get, so talk about that very soon. But we're going to be putting this compact flash adapter in here because the hard drive is bad, or actually it's completely gone on this one. I'm assuming it was removed because it was bad, but what this does is it takes a compact flash card, which is something that's used in several different storage devices, but I think most commonly digital cameras, and it adapts this to the 44-pin IDE hard drive slot. So we're going to put that in and we'll install Windows ME. I know 512 megabytes is not a lot, but Windows ME requires about 300 megs, so we should be able to at least install it, check it out, and then eventually I'm going to use this card on another computer. Let's go ahead and take out, or at least open up this hard drive compartment, and it actually does have a retaining like a bracket in here for it, so we'll take that out. There we go. All right, so that's the retaining bracket. Goes on here. This should go right in, so we'll see how that works. I've never actually messed with these before, so we'll see how this goes. Should just go right in there. There we go. Okay, and here is the 44-pin IDE interface. It's actually normally 40-pin on a standard desktop computer with the ribbon cable of the era, but the 44 pins, the extra 4 pins are for power on a laptop because a laptop doesn't have the extra space to have a separate power cable. All right, so I'll maneuver this thing in here. I'm kind of holding my phone so I can see a little better. All right, so after messing with this for a while, I noticed that one of the pins, I don't know if you can see it right there, has been pushed up a little bit by me trying to get it into the right place. And I was like, I wonder why that's happening. So then I really looked down here at the 44 pin IDE connector. There we go, I had to take the phone off the tripod there. You can see that there's a pin right on the bottom row that is missing. That's the 20th pin called the key pin. So when I've got a pin that's missing here, I can't insert into. So I guess my only option is to take the pin out of the adapter. So we'll see how we can do that. Yay, it's in. All right, so what I discovered after doing a little research is that you can just kind of, I don't want to say force, but basically force it in there, and the pin that is extra, the 20th pin, will just slide back on the adapter, which is what it did. And so it works great. And I know this is the right direction, checked all the pins, everything's good, fits perfectly. So all I have to do is put this cover on top of it to retain, and then it will be all set. All right, so after a bit of finagling, we got the retention bracket for the hard drive securely in place, and now I just have to put the cover and the screw on, and everything should be held nicely in place here. There we go, nice and snug. All right. One of the nice things about this laptop is it has both a floppy drive and it has a DVD-ROM. So, of course, the DVD will work with CDs as well, so we should be able to install Windows ME from the CD, but boot with the floppy. It probably would boot from the CD as well, but I'm going to boot it from the floppy just to make sure everything's good to go. All right, so I've got my Windows 98 SE boot disk in there, which should work just fine. Power this thing up. By the way, this laptop has a subwoofer in it, which I can't wait to hear when everything is booted up. So obviously the CMOS battery is bad. I'll have to get a new one of those too, but we'll push F1. Everything still looks good. I got the floppy disk as the first priority there. So we could put CD-ROM on there, but let's just go ahead and keep it how it is. Press escape. Yes. Here we go, starting Windows 98. All right, we're going to start it with IDE CD-ROM support. Here it goes. All right. I always remember that MSCDX version and all that stuff and all the different drivers that they'd have in there. They were kind of generic CD drivers, but I always remember seeing those. All right, we've got our Windows ME CD in here. Let's see if we can read off of that. Trying the ultra wide angle lens here and see if we can get a little bit better picture on the screen without all that banding. So hopefully that looks a little bit better. All right, now the CD should be the C drive because there's technically no hard drive right now. Even though it's in there, it hasn't been F disks formatted and all that kind of fun stuff. So, all right, everything looks good there. I'm going to go back to the A drive really quick. It's interesting how there's a space between the prompt letter and the little bracket there. More space than what I remember. Let me get a directory of this boot disk real quick, and let's do a little F disk and see if we can see that compact flash. We'll see if it actually works. Ah, okay, good. So there is a fixed disk drive because when I ran it before, it said there are no fixed disk drives on the system. So let's create a DOS partition, create primary DOS partition. There we go. Do you want to use the maximum available size? Yes. Verifying drive integrity. You must restart your system for changes to take effect. Okay, shut down Windows, of course. We haven't really started Windows, but it thinks we have. Escape. Okay, so we will do the old Control-Alt-Delete here and get things restarted. I love that that works in DOS. Of course, now in Windows it brings up a task manager. Okay, we want CD-ROM support. We'll let that load up again. It's interesting how small the window is on the screen here. There it goes. That should put that in drive D now. Let's see what it does here. Yep, drive D. So that means drive C should be the hard drive, which probably... Okay, yes, so we haven't formatted it, which is fine. Okay, so let's go back to drive A and we will format. I just wanted to see what it would do. Format C. Okay, yes, we want to do that. There we go. Almost done. There we go. Volume label. Let's just call it Retro TV 1. Is that right? Can we do that? Let's see. I think so. Perfect. All right, let's go to drive C now. Yay! All right, file not found at Retro TV. I love it. All right, so now time to install Windows. Could it really be that easy? Let's see. All right, so we're just going to type setup. And perform a routine check on your system. Ah, there it is. Good old Windows setup screen. I don't think it'll take 30 to 60 minutes because our compact flash drive should be a little bit faster than a regular hard drive, but we will see. It's pretty cool. And once everything is done, it should take up the full screen here, but we'll see what happens. All right, oh, the mouse works just fine. Nice. I zoomed out real quick to show you it's one of these little eraser tip mice here. I know the screen's overexposed right now, but actually not too bad. Probably needs to be replaced at some point, but there's no touchpad on this one. If I pan down here, you can just see buttons. It's got 4 buttons, which is pretty cool. Hopefully those can be configured within the system. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Mouse is really touchy there. I accept the agreement. Grab my product key here really quick. And don't worry, these are not secret anymore. They had only a certain number of keys you could have. This isn't, connected in any way to the internet, so there's no way for it to even check any Windows server or anything like it does now. Now it verifies your activation and product keys and all that stuff with the Microsoft servers, and of course didn't do that back then because not everybody had internet and it was much harder to get connected at the time. So, all right, so that should be correct. Let's make sure that works. Looks like it did. Oh, this must have been a key for an upgrade. Okay, got another key to try here. Let's see if this one works. That one's not going to work either. Fun times. All right, let's try this one. No luck. I'm wondering if the product key that was on the CD is the only one that will work. Not sure. May have to burn a new CD or something. Okay, so I finally caved and found my Windows 98 CD. So I hope that I can remove this Windows ME CD and get the Windows 98 CD in there, and hopefully it will be happy. We will see. There it goes. Sounds like it's about to take off. All right, let's see what happens. Seems to have found something that it likes. Here we go. Of course, we're going to go to C/Windows. One of these days we should install it to something completely random. Let's see what custom installation is. Go through the options here. Oh well. definitely. Oh, cool. We can kind of select components here. Okay, so we don't need the accessibility, but that doesn't really save too much. Let's see, what are the accessories? Briefcase, calculator, desktop wallpaper. Yeah, we need that. Although it looks like we don't have that much space available on the disk, so we need to save some space here. We don't need an address book. Let's see. Be nice to have the games. We don't need online services. That'll save us a little bit. Ah, yeah, we don't need any of that. Macromedia Shockwave. We do need media player. Sample sounds. Yeah, we need those. All right, here we go. Copying files. Sit back and relax and enjoy. It doesn't say that, but I feel like that's what it's saying. And grab a cup of coffee. Sit back, relax, enjoy the Windows ME installation. It might not even fail. It might not even blue screen you. It might even work. So amazing. All right, we'll fast forward through this part. Windows just got better. Provides the best in digital media, improved user experience, enhanced home networking. Wow, sounds like a great operating system. Oh wow, look, more innovative. Hundreds of enhancements, new features, new cutting edge technologies. Boy oh boy. Such an exciting system. At least it gives you something to read while you're waiting, I guess. Looks like this computer delivers the web to you with the best of Internet Explorer, which died several years ago. Enhancements to Internet Explorer make browsing faster. Looking for the best websites? How about Facebook? Oh, just kidding, that wasn't a thing. Here we go, yeah. MSN Messenger, it just said. We just missed it as it changed there, but MSN Messenger launched on this system apparently. Home networking. Internet connection sharing. I actually remember that. I think that started in Windows 98 SE though. That was pretty cool. Maybe it started here, I'm not sure, but it enabled multiple PCs to connect to a single internet connection. Imagine sharing a dial-up internet connection in the house, but we did that. Oh yeah, better games. DirectX, all kinds of great stuff. Of course, DirectX didn't start with Windows ME, but it's so funny. Talk about better games and like backgammon and checkers. Windows Media Player 7, which actually was a big deal at the time. Streaming audio, things like that that were just starting. It was exciting at the time. Internet radio, my goodness. And here they talk about Windows Media Player 7 offering the first fully integrated digital media experience. Another thing that started here with Windows ME is it includes Windows Movie Maker. And actually, we still use Windows Movie Maker to make some of the older Friday Night Live announcement videos. Talking about digital photography, and of course I should explain a little better if you're new to this channel. Our main channel is Resort TV 1, and we do live streams every Friday, and we do these announcements on, and I use Windows Movie Maker for that actually. It's an older version, I believe, from like Windows 7 or something like that, but it still works on Windows 10. Here they talk about improved user experience. I wonder if that includes when things crash and you get the blue screen of death. Easy to update. Windows Update. By golly. Those are the days. Here it talks a little bit about the supporting new hardware, help files, more accessible. And thank you. Please register your copy of Windows. I'll get right on that. I promise. Alright, here we go. Restart now. Let's do this thing. Let's see if it actually loads Windows. Oh, there it goes. Look at that. See how long it takes to load here. Ah, here we go, the driver database. Hopefully we'll get a display driver. This does have USB, so I'll put some of the Toshiba drivers on a USB thumb drive so that I can make sure that we have all the latest and greatest drivers for the system that will help us use all the hardware appropriately. Ooh, setup is detecting non-plug-and-play hardware. There's a caution message. It sounds risky. It'll be interesting to see how close it gets on setting up the hardware. Oh, there we go. Setting up the control panel. Programs on the start menu, Windows help. Look at that. Seems like it wants to mess with the disk drive. Not sure really why. Oh, updating system settings. Getting that registry all worked out. I've actually heard that Windows ME isn't that bad if you install it from scratch, so we'll see. I don't remember. I think I used it very, very briefly, and I think I switched to Windows 2000 pretty quickly, and then of course XP when it came out, which was far superior, even though it did get rid of DOS, which was sad. So Windows ME, while we're waiting for this to complete, Windows ME is actually a DOS-based Windows. It's the last DOS-based Windows that ever came out. After this, it was all Windows NT versions, which is, Windows 10 and Windows 11 are both based on Windows NT. So this was the last one of that old, set of operating systems that started all the way back at Windows 1.0, went all the way to, Windows 2.0, 3, 3.1, 95, 98, 98 SE, and then Windows ME. Probably missed one along the way, but yeah, those are the DOS-based Windows operating systems. All right, so we can fast forward through the rest of this. All right, here we go. Let's see if it really restarts into Windows ME this time. Always remember that little drum. Kind of fun little animation. I think that was on Windows 98 as well, maybe even Windows 95. So we may have to install the Toshiba drivers to get the full screen experience here, but looks like it's trying to load. Ah, there we go. We still definitely don't have full screen, but I'm going to wait just a second and maybe we can get something to happen. We are running low on disk space. Yes, I'm aware. It's okay. Oh wow, only has 41 megabytes. Okay, so anyway, this is a fun little exercise. We can't even really install any games or anything. So, but we got more. Got a bigger compact flash coming. Let me see if I can do display properties. Oh wow, we only have 16 colors and this will not go up. Okay, yeah, so I'll have to definitely mess with that soon. It'll be interesting, though, to find out if I can get any sound on anything. There's the old File Explorer, super fun. What if I load Windows Media Player? Ooh. Okay, so something's playing. I don't know how to get the volume to go up. Let's see. Okay, I'm pushing the button for the speaker. Oh, yep, it's on. All right, so finally some progress. I actually found the display driver online. Hopefully this is the right one. Put it on a USB, and Windows ME immediately detected the USB that I wrote with Windows 10, which was nice, and here it goes. So let's see if this actually works to give us a full screen here, the 1024 by 768. It says do not interrupt, so I won't. Okay, so we have to restart. Well, we'll do that here in just a second. I also got a sound driver, and let's run the setup for that, and then we'll restart, and hopefully we'll have sound and video. So this is a Yamaha sound chip in here. It should be amazing. DSXG is kind of a legendary old synthesizer chip. And with the subwoofer in this thing, it should sound amazing if we can get it going. So we should have sound here in just a second, and hopefully we will also have, oh, it's updating configuration files, that's a good sign. Hopefully we'll also have full screen video here in a little bit. PCI, oh, there we go. It's finding, yay, it's finding the hardware. So we should be able to increase resolution once this is done. This is just sound recorder, so let's just skip that for now. Yeah, we don't need sound recorder right now. Sound recorder help. Oh, we're good. Okay. Yeah, because we didn't install that earlier, so we didn't have enough space. Or the legacy sound system, that should be for the DOS support, the Sound Blaster support. All right, well, let's see, though, if we can. It looks like there's more color, maybe? I don't know. Let's see if we can get our display to go up a little bit more now. No, it still won't do it. It's just bizarre. What is this? Oh, this is the Yamaha audio mixer. Okay, so it looks like this is working. Let's see what happens if I actually... Doesn't look like it's wanting to do it. I may have to go into the multimedia settings and figure that out. I'm definitely not getting any... There's the sound control. We're definitely not getting any sound. Well, I think I heard it. Okay, it's just really soft. So actually, I think it is working. I just have to find the way to turn up the volume. I found the volume control. It's on the side of the laptop. So now we should be able to hear it. Ah, bingo. So now we have sound. Okay, cool. Let's see what the start window sounds like on here. Turn it up even a little more. I'm assuming the subwoofer's on. Well, that's pretty nice. All right, now let's try and load that media file. See what happens. Ah, I think I figured out the video card thing. I had the camera turned off for a second there, but I actually went into the display driver properties and had Windows search for a better driver, and it found the correct one. So, all right. Maybe it just didn't catch last time, but let's restart, and we should have better graphics, and we should be able to use full screen at that point. So let's hope. We should hear a startup sound this time. Ah, full screen. Yay. Okay, now it's finding the panel again. That's the first time I've seen this complete screen. Wow, this is a really nice laptop. That's a very nice screen. Look at that. Hopefully you guys are seeing that on here. I know it's kind of not the best view. If I zoom in just a little more. Really cool. And again, we're out of disk space here. We've got like 5 megabytes left or something. I'm sure virtual memory is not happy right now, but wow, that is just a beautiful display. My goodness. That's incredible. So yeah, so we are in good shape. I'd like to transfer over some MIDI files and see how they sound here real quick. We can just play them off of the USB, and I may actually can put some games on there too, and again, just play them off of the USB since I don't have enough space. But wow, that's a 15-inch screen, and it looks amazing. Just want to show you another view of the screen here. If I tilt the camera just right, I can use the main sensor on the phone that I'm using right now, Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. I'll see that banding comes back pretty quickly. For whatever reason, the ultra wide, it doesn't do that on. But anyway, hopefully that gives you a little better sense of what the image is like. So I copied some files over onto my removable USB here. So first of all, I want to hear what Canyon.mid sounds like on this Yamaha MIDI chip here. So let's see what's going on with that. That should be amazing. Wow. There's a lot of wavetable in there. You can see I've got all the colors now, so this screen looks great. That's just amazing. Let's skip ahead a little bit in here. Actually, I think I can turn this up a little bit. Oh, wow. Whoa. Oh my goodness. Let me go back just a little bit. Wow. That's incredible. Woohoo. Can you imagine a laptop sounding like this in the late 90s, early 2000s? That's incredible. Wow. Just the volume was turned down a little bit. Okay, so let's go back. That is really good. Let's listen to passport.mid. That's another great old MIDI file that used to be included on Windows 95, 98, and all these. Wow. That's so good. Again, sorry about the banding on the screen, but that is so good. Now, as opposed to up here on the Windows PC, or the Windows 10 PC, it doesn't sound bad, but you can tell it's just not as good of sound samples. There's no reverb or anything like that. And as opposed to this. It's just really, really good. And I love the reverb. All right, let's try Duke 3D because this has got some great music on here. All right, I'm back on the ultra wide lens because I couldn't handle the banding effect. All right, I'll just run it right off of here, but I'll do setup. Let's see, let's try setup and let's make sure we have all the things set up correctly here. Does it do anything? Yes. Okay, so let's do sound setup. Should be good. Let's choose sound effects card. Oh, it's actually got, wow, it's actually auto-selected to the AW32 for sound effects and the music card is Sound Canvas. That is correct. Okay. That's pretty cool. Can we test those? Let's see. Let's go ahead and do it. Sound Canvas, yes. Sure. Okay, so I thought there was a way to check it. Screen set up. Wonder if it'll work in 800 by 600. We will see. If for some reason I thought I'd seen somebody at one point do a sound test on this, but I guess not. Let's see what happens. Save and launch. Let's see if it'll do anything. Playback failed. Okay. Let's try something different. So I've been working on this laptop over the past couple days, and I figured out a couple things that I didn't figure out originally on the first night that I installed Windows ME. So I'm back to show a couple more things real quick before we wrap up this video. First of all, I did figure out how to stretch the screen. Of course, the CMOS battery is dead, so it doesn't save the settings, so you can tell the screen isn't stretched because it's just way down here. But if I press F1, I can go back into the BIOS and I can do the screen stretch. So there we go. Look at that. And it actually scales up pretty nicely. That looks pretty good. So first, let's talk a little bit about the Windows ME experience. We haven't really done that very much, just kind of in passing. First of all, when you click on My Computer, of course it shows all the things, but it's very web-based. You can see these are like hyperlinks almost on a website to go to these different places. Like even to go to My Documents is a hyperlink. And then this is basically Internet Explorer in the file manager. You've even got history for where you went with files and things. And for some reason, it hasn't saved that. Probably not enough memory to save anything that I've been to before. We can go back to My Computer. You can hear the little clicks. And we've got the CD, control panel, all that stuff. Now, when we go to the hard drive, it started out like this. It says, you know, everything was My Documents, add, remove programs, all this, and there was nothing over here. And I couldn't figure out, like, why can't I see the hard drive? And then I realized I had to go over here and click view the entire contents of the drive, and here we are. So now you can kind of see it. And then even if you try and go into Windows, of course, same thing. It contains files that keep your computer working properly. Please be careful. So I get it, you know, especially if people didn't understand computers very well. It's really important that they didn't mess with this too much. This is the Windows folder. And nothing much in a lot of these places. I probably could gain some space by deleting a few things here and there, but actually, there really aren't a lot of things here. Flourish, is that the startup screen? Let me see. Oh, apparently not. Wow. All right, so I pulled the volume down just a little bit more so we have less distortion. But the reason I'm so excited about this sound on this computer is because, again, it's got that Yamaha sound chip in it, and we'll talk about that more in the full video on this computer. But it adds wavetable synthesis, meaning that there are real instruments, basically recordings of real instruments playing on these MIDI files. MIDI files are basically just text files telling the computer what instrument to play and when to play it, what notes to play, what rhythms to play, but it doesn't actually have any recorded data in there like you would on a regular MP3 file or something like that. So it's really interesting the computer actually performs the music. Let's hear a little bit more with that in mind. I'm going to play around with this a little bit. Wow. That's pretty cool. Let's see what the other ones are in here real quick. So these are not MIDI files that are on Windows 98 or 95. So that's kind of cool. Each one has their own different files. So we already played Canyon.mid and Passport.mid on here, but I haven't tried these. So here's another MIDI file, One Stop. Let's see what that sounds like. It's really cool. It's such a good sound for a little laptop. I mean, it's not really a little laptop, but That sounds so good. Oh, new section. All right, won't play the whole thing, but that's pretty cool. I've never heard those MIDI files before. So let's try the last one here real quick. I seem to have figured out at least a little bit better on how to get the sound to be better. I could do a direct capture from the line out on the computer to direct to a recorder, but I don't have anything set up for that right now, so that'll have to wait till the next video, perhaps when I have time to do that. But wow, that's really good. And you heard the trumpets there, da-da-da. That's actually a wavetable trumpet. It's not exactly sounding like a trumpet, but it's way closer than what a MIDI synthesized sound would be. And you heard that there. It's pretty cool. All right, so we're going to stop that right now. And of course, again, the two most iconic, I'm going to copy these over because I won't have Windows ME next time, but the two most iconic MIDI files on most computers in the Windows 95, 98 era were the Canyon.mid and Passport.mid. So I'm going to copy these over to my USB drive here so that I can have these from my other computers and show you a comparison here. So let's try back on Canyon.mid real quick, and then I want to play it for you on my Windows 10 PC again just to show you a difference. Do you hear that a little bit? So you hear the reverb and really nice instrument sounds and all that good stuff. So let me play it on the Windows 10 machine and see what you think there. All right, well, I've got the Windows 10 machine ready to go. So listen to the differences between these two versions or ways of playing the same track. So this is going to play through basically a software MIDI kind of an emulation mode on Windows 10 through Windows Media Player. And it's going to play through, again, better speakers, but these computers don't have any hardware MIDI decoding or anything like that. It just does a software emulation of the original kind of MIDI playback on a Sound Blaster ad-lib. So listen to this. So you hear that, and you hear that it's way more synthesized sounding. Of course, again, the bass is better and things. I've got better speakers on that. So to do a head-to-head comparison, I need to do direct capture, but don't have time to do that right now. But listening again on the new laptop here, listen to the reverb, and the instruments are such better quality. Pretty incredible, honestly. So, all right, let's talk a little more about Windows ME features before we wrap this up. First of all, Windows Media Player, again, like I said before, was a big part of the Windows Millennium Edition experience. Of course, it's not connected to the internet. I'm not going to do that. Probably wouldn't work anyway. You've got CD audio, media library, radio tuner, and all kinds of things. So I don't want to search for anything right now. Of course, there's no internet, but it's all about the internet because, this came out in 99 or 2000, around that time period. And so it was around that time the internet was really becoming the standard and the go-to for any kind of content. So it's really important that everybody had access to the internet, and all the different facets of the operating system would be based on that. Even this little icon right here that says connect to the internet. All right, so hopefully you can see the screen a little better now. I made a little bit of an adjustment. Now, if we load Internet Explorer, nothing's going to happen. It's going to say, you know, you need to sign up, but I'm going to set up the internet connection manually and all these things. I'm going to connect through a local area network and so on and so forth. Let's see. Windows will now install the files and drivers you need to access the internet. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, I did something crazy. I went ahead and connected this to the internet through the Ethernet port. This does have an Ethernet port, so you don't have to get an extra card or anything like that. It also has a telephone jack interface, which of course we will not be using, but I'm curious to see if I'm able to access any websites on this, being a little bit newer than when I tried on Windows 95. So let's see what happens. Okay. Let's just see if we can go to, and I may have to install some drivers or something. Let's just see if we can go to Google. I could not open the search page. Okay, we may have to change some settings here to make that happen. Let's see, let's go to Internet Options. Let's go to Connections. Let's see, LAN settings. Maybe we need to do automatically detect settings. I think that's probably what happens. I don't think we have to install all the protocols or anything on this particular computer, but let's see what happens if I do that. We're going to hit refresh. Nothing's happening still. I may have to do something else to get it to work. I love the little spinning globe over here. That's super cool. I remember that. What Internet Explorer is this? This is Internet Explorer 5.5. So much newer, but obviously Internet Explorer doesn't even exist anymore. So, all right, let's see if we can get this worked out. All right, so that's what I was thinking. There are no network components installed here, so I need to install a protocol. We need to install TCP. So hopefully, I don't even know if we have enough space to do this. So this may be an exercise in futility here, but we'll just see what happens. All right, so that should do it. Let's see what happens here. Oh, of course, we have to restart. It's Windows. You got to restart every time. Okay, we're still not getting anything. Let's just try Google, because that homepage may be not correct. No. Okay, not a thing. All right, well, anyway, I don't think that's going to work right now. We may have to finagle with that more, but I do like seeing the old browser. All right, well, since we can't get that working right now, I want to play a few games on here that I couldn't get working before. All right, thinking a little bit more about the internet issue, I think it's not even able to install the drivers I need to get on the internet because it's actually not got enough space to do that. So that's why we're not going to be able to get on the internet on this version or this installation of Windows ME. But I did get Duke Nukem 3D working on here that I couldn't get before with sound. So I've got it set up as a sound canvas, a Roland sound canvas, which is insanely great. So listen to the sound on this. Listen to that. It sounds so incredible, and we've got full screen too. Listen to the sound on this thing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't remember all the buttons, but it just sounds so incredible. And the graphics are fantastic, at least, you know, for the era that it was in. The processor's plenty fast enough to handle this. And we're going to try one more, Epic Pinball. Amazing, amazing game that has a great soundtrack, and it works wonderfully on this computer. Of course, this works on my other computer too, but the sound wasn't nearly this good, and of course the graphics weren't as good either. The vocals are really, really clear on this thing. Oh, almost got it around there. What's that music? So good. Alright, now this could be lack of memory on the hard drive or something, but this is Windows ME being Windows ME. It's not even a blue screen. The computer's just frozen, and I don't even think I can Control-Alt-Delete it. Nope, it's dead. So I just have to turn it off and back on. Alright, we're back up and running. I love, by the way, Windows 98 had this too, these little shortcuts here. This was the desktop shortcut here, right by the start button. I always remember using those all the time. See the start menu again there, just giving you again a little more tour of Windows ME, since we're not going to have it on here eventually. You got recent documents and things. Of course, I haven't put anything on here. There's no room for anything. Should be nothing in the startup. There's very little here. Communications, let's see, home networking wizard. That's where you could share your internet connection. Entertainment, none of the games or anything were in here. System tools, defrag, and all that stuff is in here. So there's just very little in here. There is a WordPad or a Notepad, so that's pretty standard. I don't know if Windows Movie Maker will even load. Let's see, because that was again one thing that was new with Windows ME. Well, there you go. Look at that. Wow. Great music. This would have been a sweet laptop to have, honestly, back in 2000, 2001. It's pretty cool. Let's see if we can exit the tour here. All right, there we go. So Windows Movie Maker. It's way different than the one that we use, but it's still pretty incredible that they did start it all the way back on Windows Millennium Edition here. And it became kind of a standard thing to use on Windows XP, which was the next major version, of course. 2000 happened at the same time. It was based on Windows NT, but Windows XP was the next one that a lot of people use. I don't know if there's any media on here. I don't think there's any room on the hard drive, probably. The media, yeah, I don't see anything under videos or anything like that. I wonder if there's anything in here as far as video files. Oh, here's a sample file, Windows Movie Maker sample file. Let's load that up. Maybe. Yeah, it looks like it's not going to work. Okay, that's fine. Oh, there's not enough disk space to continue this operation. Yes, okay. So, anyway, so yeah, again, not enough disk space. I just didn't think when I bought the 512 megabyte flash drive that I'd even use it, or the compact flash, that I'd even try and use it as a hard drive at all. I really just bought it to transfer files, but I thought, well, I didn't have my bigger one when I started this video, and I just wanted to get this computer working, hear the amazing sound and graphics and everything else, but also try Windows ME and see if it's really as bad as we remember. So I think that's all we're going to do for now, but hope you really enjoyed this. All right, everybody. Well, that's all for now for this Windows ME installation video on this amazing retro gaming laptop. First of all, leave me a comment. Let me know if you're excited to see the full review on this retro gaming laptop. This is just a little tease, a little sneak preview, if you will. But this is obviously an incredible machine, so I will be doing a full review on this and also an installation video on Windows 98 SE on this machine. So stay tuned for that. So it's going to be super awesome to see what Windows 98 SE will do and what some of the games that wouldn't run on Windows ME will do on Windows 98 SE. So, what was your verdict about Windows 98 ME? Did you think that it was as bad as you remember, or did you think that maybe it was a little bit better than you thought? For me, I'm probably somewhere in the middle. There were some things that were definitely annoying. Obviously, the lack of a real DOS mode, meaning you can't just restart in MS-DOS mode and run pure DOS, not in a window. And don't confuse, I made DOS full screen a couple times on this machine, but it's still technically running as an application within Windows, so you can't do everything that you could in a pure DOS environment. And so, Windows 98 SE and also, Windows 95 and, those two previous versions of Windows did have the ability to boot into a real mode, which means that it would just be DOS and no Windows running in the background or anything like that, in order to play some of the older DOS games and even a few of the newer ones like Doom. Doom seems to like to run in pure DOS mode a lot as well, depending on the machine. So, what did you think? Leave me a comment. But again, for me, I think, for me, see what I did there? For me, Windows ME definitely wasn't for me. It was cool to see some of the things that were introduced in Windows ME, such as Windows Movie Maker. Of course, I couldn't use that because I didn't have enough space on the compact flash card, but it was introduced in Windows ME. There was also the Windows Media Player 7, which did carry over into later versions of Windows and was used for quite a while after. It was pretty famous, especially for having several skins and things like that that could make it look very early 2000s, late 90s. So that's pretty cool. And also, it had the Windows Update features and things that carried on through later versions of Windows. But ultimately, developers when they made Windows ME really tried to kind of stand over the top of a gap. It's kind of like the developers are standing over this giant chasm, trying not to fall in the middle, where they're trying to kind of bridge the gap between DOS over here and Windows NT over here, and modern operating systems like Windows 10, Windows 11, they're based on Windows NT. The more stable environment that was originally just for business workstations. So all the modern Windows are based on NT, but they were still trying to kind of let DOS last for one more year or two more years in a Windows version, and they kind of tried to straddle the gap and didn't really work out because it didn't do as much DOS as it needed to, but it wasn't as stable as Windows NT. So it ended up being neither of the things that it really needed to be, because Windows 98 SE people like, even though it's not as stable, it does still have the blue screen of death issues, a lot worse than what Windows NT ever did. But Windows 98 SE has the real DOS mode. It has a lot better support for DOS games. It's just a lot friendlier environment. It seems to be programmed more with DOS in mind, and so it just runs more stable that way. In fact, there's still some modern applications that still use Windows 98 in certain venues because those machines just still run well on that operating system. So anyway, Windows ME was a very interesting animal and definitely something that will go down in history still as one of the worst operating systems Microsoft made, but something that actually did introduce important things for later in the Windows product cycle. So hope you enjoyed the video. Be looking out for the next one where I do an in-depth on this incredible Toshiba 2805-S401 laptop. Boy, that's a mouthful, right? But be looking out for that video. We're going to be going in depth on that, comparing it to my other retro gaming laptop that's running Windows 95, and just showing you why this one's better in some ways, and why it gives you a great experience for Windows 98 games and DOS games. So definitely stay tuned for that. And so for now, enjoy that tech and keep it retro.